The Analects by Confucius. Book 1, On Learning. In this book I have set forth the foundation upon which all true virtue rests, learning. The gentleman begins with study of the ancient ways, for without learning there can be no understanding of the way. He who learns but does not think is lost. He who thinks but does not learn is in peril. Filial piety to parents and respect for elders form the root from which benevolence grows. A young man must be filial at home, respectful abroad, cautious in speech, and trustworthy in conduct before he may turn his mind to higher studies. Learning is not merely the accumulation of knowledge, but the daily cultivation of character, so that one may serve family, state, and heaven with sincerity. I have said that one who is fond of learning is near to knowledge, and he who practices what he learns is near to benevolence. Through constant reflection and practice, the student becomes a vessel fit for the way. Let no one suppose that learning is for the few. It is the path open to all who seek to become fully human. Only by rooting oneself in study can one stand firm when the world is shaken and bring harmony to those around him. Book 2, On Government. In this book I speak of government as the highest expression of virtue. A ruler governs best not by laws and punishments, but by moral example. When the people see the ruler's virtue, they turn toward it as grass bends before the wind. Filial piety extended from family to state is the basis of order. I have taught that one who rules by virtue is like the North Star, which remains fixed while all others turn toward it. Administrators must be chosen for their uprightness, not for cleverness or wealth. When the ruler is correct, the state is at peace. When he deviates, disorder follows. Government is not mere administration, but the cultivation of the people's hearts. Let the ruler first correct himself, then correct his household, then the realm. Punishments may restrain the body, but only virtue transforms the spirit. I counsel every prince to lead by moral force, so that the common people will follow willingly, and the realm will flourish in harmony. Book 3, The 8 Rows of Dancers. Here I address the proper performance of rites and music, for these are the outward signs of inner order. When a noble family presumes to use the 8 rows of dancers reserved for the Son of Heaven, the foundations of propriety are shaken. I lament such usurpations because they reveal a deeper disorder in the heart. Music and ritual must reflect the true hierarchy of heaven and earth. When they are corrupted, the state soon follows. I have said that a man without benevolence may perform the rites, yet his heart remains empty. The gentleman uses ritual to restrain excess and music to harmonize the emotions. Through correct observance of ancient ceremonies, one learns humility before heaven and respect for one's place. Let no one imagine that ritual is mere formality. It is the vessel that carries virtue into the world. When rites are observed with sincerity, society achieves harmony. When they are neglected or abused, chaos reigns. Book 4, On Virtue. In this book I dwell upon the virtue called benevolence, the highest quality of the gentleman. Benevolence is to love others as one loves oneself, and to act toward them with perfect sincerity. I have taught that the man of virtue wishes to establish others as he wishes to be established. One who sets his heart on benevolence will commit no evil. Virtue is not distant. It lies within reach of every person who earnestly seeks it. The gentleman dwells in benevolence as a fish dwells in water. Without it he cannot live. I counsel every student to make virtue his constant companion, for even a single day without it leaves the heart empty. Wealth and honor gained without virtue are like drifting clouds. The path of the gentleman is narrow and steep, yet it leads to the highest good. Let the student fix his mind on benevolence morning and evening, and he will never stray from the way. Book 5, Gong Ye Chang. Here I speak of worthy men and the qualities that make them fit for office. I praise those whose conduct matches their words and whose virtue is steady in adversity. A true gentleman is not swayed by gain or loss. He remains constant in poverty and humble in prosperity. I have evaluated my disciples and others, noting who possesses the inner strength to govern justly. Talent alone is insufficient. Character is the true measure. The man who can be trusted with authority must first master himself. I warn against those who appear virtuous but lack inner substance. Through these judgments I teach that government requires men of proven moral worth. Let the ruler seek such men and elevate them, for the state will flourish under their guidance. The worthy man serves without seeking reward, speaks without flattery, and acts without self-interest. In this way the way of the ancients is revived. Book 6, on Yong. In this book I discuss the qualities of the worthy disciple Yong and others who embody practical virtue. I show that true talent is revealed in quiet service rather than in bold display. The gentleman is moderate in all things, neither extravagant nor stingy. I have said that one who can govern a state with 5 virtues, reverence, generosity, sincerity, diligence, and kindness, will win the hearts of the people. Virtue must be lived daily, not merely spoken. The worthy man adapts his conduct to the times, yet remains rooted in principle. I praise those who combine learning with moral action, for knowledge without practice is empty. Let the students strive to be like Yong, steady, reliable, and free from excess. Through such men the state finds stability and the people find peace. The way is not hidden. It is practiced in small things and in great. Book 7, on the transmission. Here I describe my own life and the transmission of the ancient way. I have never claimed to be a sage, but only a transmitter of the wisdom of the Zhou kings. I delight in study and forget to eat. I am so absorbed that I forget my cares. Though I have faced hardship and exile, my heart remains fixed on the way. I teach that the gentleman is not anxious about lack of office, but about whether he possesses the virtue to deserve it. Learning, reflection, and practice form the 3 legs of the tripod of wisdom. I have said that at 15 I set my heart on learning, at 30 I stood firm, at 40 I had no doubts, at 50 I knew the will of heaven. The student who follows this path will transmit the way to future generations. Let no one despair of the times. The way endures through those who love it. Book 8, Tai Bo. In this book I honor the ancient sages Tai Bo and others who embodied perfect virtue through humility and self-sacrifice. I teach that the highest virtue often appears in quiet renunciation rather than in public display. The gentleman follows the example of the ancients, yielding rather than contending. I have said that Tai Bo yielded the throne 3 times, and the people could find no words to praise him sufficiently. True greatness lies in what is hidden. Ritual and music are the outward expressions of inner harmony. When they are correct, the state prospers. The student must study the odes and practice ritual so that his conduct becomes graceful and his heart upright. Through such cultivation, the gentleman becomes a model for the world. Let no one seek fame, seek only to embody the way, and fame will follow unasked. Book 9, The Master Said. Here I collect sayings that reveal the depth of my teaching. The gentleman fears 3 things: the decree of heaven, great men, and the words of the sages. I warn against those who speak without acting and act without reflection. Learning is lifelong. Even at 70 I would not claim to have exhausted the way. I have said that the odes may stir the mind, ritual may establish character, and music may perfect virtue. The student must examine himself daily. Have I been faithful in word? Have I been sincere in deed? The path is long, yet one step follows another. Let the young respect their elders, and the elders guide the young. In this way the generations are linked in virtue. The way is not far off. It lies in the daily practice of sincerity and reverence. Book 10, On Manners. In this book I describe the outward conduct of the gentleman in every situation. Whether at court, in the village, or at table, his demeanour reveals his inner cultivation. I teach that dress, posture, and speech must all accord with ritual. The gentleman is dignified yet approachable, respectful without stiffness. When serving superiors, he is reverent. When among equals, he is warm. Even in small matters, eating, walking, speaking, he observes the forms that express respect for heaven and man. I have shown how the ancient rites shape every aspect of life so that chaos is avoided and harmony reigns. The student must practice these manners until they become second nature. Through correct conduct, the heart is trained and society is ordered. Let no one dismiss ritual as trivial. It is the thread that binds the world together. Book 11, The Disciples. Here I speak of my disciples and the strengths and weaknesses each possesses. I praise those who are eager in learning and frank in character. I note that some excel in virtue, others in speech, others in administration. Each has his place in the way. I have said that Yan Yuan loved learning and never repeated a fault. Zilu was brave but sometimes rash. The teacher must know the nature of each student and guide him accordingly. Through these portraits I teach that virtue takes many forms, yet all flow from the same root. The gentleman values sincerity above talent and humility above brilliance. Let the ruler choose men according to their true character, not their reputation. In this way the state is served by the worthy and the people are benefited. The way is advanced through the careful nurture of each individual. Book 12, Yan Yuan. In this book I answer the questions of Yan Yuan and others on the nature of benevolence and government. Benevolence is to subdue oneself and return to ritual. I have taught that one day of perfect self-mastery restores the world to virtue. The ruler must guide the people by example. When he is upright, none dare be crooked. Government is not force, but moral influence. I counsel the student to see clearly, hear clearly, speak cautiously, and act with respect. The gentleman is concerned with the root. When the root is secure, the way grows. Yan Yuan's question leads me to reveal that benevolence lies in daily practice, not in distant ideals. Let every man begin with himself, and the world will be transformed. Virtue is the only true power, all else is shadow. Book 13, Zilu. Here Zilu asks about government, and I reply that the ruler must first correct himself and then correct others. I teach that names must be rectified so that words correspond to reality. When the ruler is correct, the people follow. When he is crooked, they rebel. The gentleman is slow in speech but quick in action. I have said that one who governs well needs no army. His virtue is his defense. The student must cultivate loyalty, sincerity, and diligence. Government succeeds when the people trust their leaders. Let the ruler appoint only the upright, and the state will flourish. Through Zilu's questions, I reveal that true leadership is moral leadership. The way of the ancients is simple. Correct yourself, and the world is ordered. Book 14, Xian Wen. In this book I discuss the conduct of officials and the dangers of ambition without virtue. I praise those who serve faithfully even in difficult times. The gentleman is not concerned with rank, but with whether his conduct is right. I have said that the superior man is satisfied and composed. The small man is always full of anxiety. One should not seek office for gain, but for the chance to practice the way. When the state is disordered, the worthy man may withdraw. When it is ordered, he may serve. I warn against those who flatter and scheme. True worth is shown in adversity. The student must examine his motives daily. Through these sayings I teach that integrity is the only lasting treasure. Book 15, Duke Ling of Wei. Here Duke Ling asks about military affairs, and I reply that I have no knowledge of them. I know only the conduct of civil affairs. I teach that the gentleman plans for the distant future and does not seek immediate gain. I have said that the determined scholar and the man of virtue will not seek to live at the expense of virtue. One should not worry about lack of recognition, but about whether one deserves recognition. The way is advanced through sincerity and reverence. Let the ruler surround himself with the upright, and the state will be at peace. Through these exchanges I reveal that true statesmanship rests on moral character. The gentleman acts with justice and speaks with truth. Book 16, The G Family. In this book I warn against the usurpation of power by great families and the dangers of ambition without restraint. The G family's actions show how the loss of ritual leads to disorder. I teach that the gentleman fears the loss of virtue more than the loss of office. I have said that the superior man has 3 things to guard against in youth, manhood, and old age. The state flourishes when the ruler honors the worthy, and the people practice filial piety. Let no one suppose that power can be held by force alone. It rests on the consent of the people's hearts. Through these warnings I call the world back to the ancient Ji Ge, 17, Yang Huo. Here Yang Huo attempts to draw me into service, and I resist, for the times are disordered. I teach that the small man is hard to deal with when he is in power. The gentleman avoids both flattery and stubbornness. I have said that the superior man is not a utensil, he is GDK in himself. Music and ritual shape character. Without them the heart grows wild. The student must study the odes to stir his mind, and ritual to steady his conduct. Through these sayings I show that one may serve only when the ruler follows the way. Virtue is its own reward. The rest is in the hands of heaven. Book 18, The Viscount of Wei. In this book I honor those who withdrew from corrupt courts rather than compromise their principles. The Viscount of Wei and others chose integrity over office. I teach that when the way does not prevail in the state, the gentleman may retire. I have said that the superior man is firm but not rigid. One should not associate with those who lack virtue. Through these examples I show that withdrawal is sometimes the highest form of service to the way. The gentleman remains loyal to principle even when the world turns against him. Let the student remember that heaven has not yet abandoned the way. It waits for those who love it. Book 19, Zizhang. Here Zizhang and other disciples record sayings on the conduct of the gentleman. I teach that the superior man is grave in demeanor, respectful in action, and sincere in word. One should not judge a man by a single fault. I have said that the scholar must be broad-minded and resolute, for the burden is heavy and the way is long. Through these collected teachings, the younger disciples learn how to carry the tradition forward. The gentleman studies the ancients so that he may serve the present. Let no one be ashamed to ask or to learn. Humility is the mark of true wisdom. In this way the way is transmitted across generations. Book 20, Yao said. In this final book I record the ancient words of Yao and the principles of good government handed down from the sages. The ruler must be reverent toward heaven, attentive to the people, and economical in expenditure. I have said that the way of the ancient kings is to love the people as one loves one's own children. Virtue is the foundation of lasting rule. Without it even the greatest empire falls. The gentleman studies these ancient models so that he may govern with justice and compassion. Through these closing words I entrust the tradition to future generations. Let the student read, reflect, and practice until the way becomes his own. Heaven and earth are constant, so too is the path of the gentleman.